commissioners that we're not gonna go into the reserves, that we are cutting 30 million, and you asked the administration to go cut. But you know the budget probably more or better than anyone in the county.
Thank you.
So they're gonna come back with numbers, but you're instinctively gonna know where there's more or others. How hard will it be for you not to do that?
I don't think I'm ever going to. I respect very much the separation. You can't have individual board members, and you can't have an ex-county manager going in trying to be a county manager. You've got to have your county manager do that. You've got to give clear direction. You've got to give, and then after you give that clear direction to that county manager, I'm sorry, Terry, I feel bad. The camera's here and you're there, and I don't want to ignore you, but I feel like David told me to watch here, so maybe I should go back here and ignore the rest of y'all.
I'll go stand behind him.
I just feel very strongly that I respect very much the process. You have to have that dichotomy, if you will, between the elected officials, and frankly, I've never been an elected official. But in the last 6 weeks, I've got a whole new appreciation for them, what they go through, the vetting they go through, and I think I've been vetted as much as any person I know. So I do understand that separation, and I respect that separation. But what you've got to do when you do give that charge to staff, you've got to say to staff, you know, here's what we want. We want to get here. Now you tell us how we're going to get here. Now, staff, what we're going to do, we're going to set up some road marks. We're going to set up some criteria that's going to demonstrate to us, the elected officials, how well you're progressing to get us to that destination. And we're going to evaluate you on those, what I call objectives. I call this the goal, the board's goals. You know, what does the board want done? The objectives are the thing the staff is doing to get us to those board goals. And that's the basis upon which staff should be evaluated. And if I, as an individual commissioner, or any of the other commissioners are in there directing staff and distorting that, then how can we hold them accountable? To me, it's pretty simplistic. I've been doing all my life, as I say, I work for 6 different cities and counties in 3 different states. And it's not rocket science, it's just being consistent. I think if people know that if you're somewhat predictable, they know what you want, and you're consistent about it, they may not always agree with you, but I think they respect it.
Don, good morning again.
Good morning.
Before I begin, I want to go on record and thank you for 16 years of outstanding service to Lee County. There's no doubt that you were the driving force that brought the county into prominence.
Thank you very much.
Now for my question. There has been a situation where a county commissioner asked for some information, and the county manager decided that he shouldn't have that. Are you familiar with that?
I've heard about it. You know, I try not to get too opinionated about things. You know, you hear things. There's always another side of the story, and I don't know. I am familiar with it somewhat, but all I know is what I've read. I don't think the visual media has reported it. I'm not sure. I'm familiar, kind of familiar with what you're talking about. Yes.
And the county manager, nobody would know better the kind of job that she's doing. How would you rate her performance?
Karen Haas? Oh, I think that'd be very presumptuous of me to rate Karen Haas. Karen was a great human services director. She's a very good person, but I've not ever been in the role where I could rate Karen as how well job she's doing as a county manager. You know, she was a great employee. When I was a county manager, she's a human services director. She was a great county employee. And certainly, I wouldn't want to say, I don't know. I don't think that would be fair of me to do that.
What criteria would you use when their annual reviews come up and you are rating some, doing her reviews? What kind of goals would you have, and what are you going to look at for?
Well, I think that's what I'm saying. Maybe I should have made it more clear. I think that's the crux of everything, is that discussion you have between whomever is being evaluated and whoever's doing the evaluation. You've got to have a clear understanding. How do you expect me to get over there and evaluate me along the way if we haven't have agreed upon checkpoints. And I think you have to have those checkpoints. And frankly, we've done this when I was county manager for 16 years. We had that. But the board, I don't want to be disparaging, but they weren't followed enough. And I emphasize over and over that we need those checkpoints so we, the staff, to the board, can get you where it is you want to be and you can evaluate us. But I don't think it's ever seriously taken. The policy-making body, they have a hard time coming together and making those hard decisions, making those hard evaluations.
With regards to the role of county manager, and this is again going over many of the things that we've talked about today, but how would you see the ideal relationship between the county commissioner and the county manager? What kind of relationship would you like to have, if elected, with whoever the county commissioner is for the current Osmond future?
You know, that's a great question. That goes right to the crux of everything. I think you have to have a very collegial relationship with the county manager, the elected officials and the county manager and the staff. I've worked for, as I keep saying, I work for a lot of boards and commissions all over the country. And I've always enjoyed a good relationship with the board. You know, we have difference of opinion. We debate things strongly, but we have relationships afterwards. It never has really gotten personal. In my career, I can think of maybe with, I don't know, I probably had at least 40, 50, 60 elected officials I worked for. But I always felt very able to, you know, welcome to give them my opinion and voice strong thoughts and debate. I can think of commissioners that, I remember a commissioner in Del Norte County, California, many years ago, John Fraser, who's a dear friend of mine today. And he and I were the best of friends, but that's something you really got to be careful about. You can't do that, but the only reason that worked is in the boardroom, John and I fought all the time.
Well, and is that kind of relationship really possible, given the manner in which you exited the county job?
The manner I exited the county job was because I was foolishly forwarded on some emails.
I understand that, and my question is, though, is that collegial relationship that you described, do you think it's possible, given the circumstances?
By the collegial relationship, yes, I think, yeah, absolutely. You mean could I go back and work with the board members there?
Do you think the board can work with you, and can you work with the board?
I absolutely feel yes. I don't feel any problem with that at all. I think the board all respected me. I've had board members come up to me afterwards and tell me what they feel about me, told me to use them as references if I want to go out someplace else and apply for another job. I've not been doing that because my family, my 3 grown children here, live here. My wife, I've got 2 stepchildren. They're going to be seniors in Fort Myers High School this fall. They live here. But I've had board members tell me, Don, if you want to use me, I'll give you the best of recommendations.
I think it's a little different, though. I don't know if they would endorse you for this job. Maybe they will or not. And that's really what...
It's a good question. It's something that has gone through my mind. I would just say to you that this has been my career, working with people and trying to get consensus and try to get acceptance. Not you know, you don't have to love somebody, but if you respect them and you listen to them, you can have a relationship with them.
Do you understand the irony, though, of the situation, correct?
I understand the irony to a certain point because people can say, well, how could you... I don't have any big animosity towards the board. You know, I did a dumb thing, something I regret. I don't want to get emotional. It hurts me every day. I love what I was doing. That was then, and this is now, and it's a different role, a different time, and I'm not a vindictive person. I don't try to get people.
When you first announced your candidacy, you described county finances in a sort of a dire way. At least that's the way I understood it. And then it struck me when Commissioner Manning was here, he said that, and I'm not by any means paraphrasing, but he indicated that those predictions, and not only yours, but of those who indicated that the county finances were worse than they, in his opinion, appear to be. That's quite a divide there.
Absolutely.
And why is he wrong?
I don't think he's wrong. I think we've not had the public vetting, and I don't think we have the understanding at the board level or even the staff. I think staff understands it. Staff is terrified, my opinion. They know they're running out of money. But the board doesn't want to address that. You know, 2 more years, get reelected, whatever, things will get better. We'll start getting some more revenue we haven't been getting. Something good's gonna happen, I know it is. Let's just get through a couple more years and everything. Well, we've done it 3 years in a row now, and we're talking about on October 1, taking another $30 million from the general fund reserves. That's 4 years in a row. That's not what reserves are for. I come out in your office out here, and honestly, I'm not sucking up to you, I'm telling you the truth. I used to walk in here and I see all kinds of people. I didn't see many people out there today. There's a whole different ambience today than what it was when I used to come in here 4 or 5 years ago. And it's reality. It's every place I go. It's the reality I live with. I said earlier, I'm not living the same way I used to live. My income dropped by 90%.
And how do you envision bringing